Hello, friends. Welcome to the new edition, episode 15 of the 3 Up, 3 Down podcast. I'm your host, Brian Hunter. This is my co-host, Quentin Meyer. We're going to be doing a little bit different segments for you guys here today. Obviously, we're still going to keep to our 3 segments, but normally in the first segment, we go over the last week's, kind of review last week and kind of talk about it a little bit. We're not going to do that today. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that happened last week. We don't want to take anything away from Sam for tomorrow for 56 and under. And you should have already watched Fast Pitch last night with Jason Worsenholm. So if you didn't, make sure you log back in and check that out because that's everything. We don't need to give you 3 straight days of highlights and talking about the past week. We're going to bring you the power rankings for the end of April. Obviously, we're our first month in. Most of our teams have gotten to play at least minimum 3 games. So, figure with that being said, we'll have some fun with some power rankings. And our second segment, we're going to be joined by our hitter and pitcher of the week. No surprise what it is, but, you look at the title, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
And then that third segment, me and Q, we're going to preview this coming week. I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. So with that, hit the intro. So Q, we've completed our first full month. All right, we've made it through the month of April. Only one right now, so that's good.
Hey, there we
only
go.
One, spring showers bring May flowers.
I think every week it's rained though.
Don't you put that on us, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that on us this week. I play at 6. Don't be messing with me. But no, with that said, obviously we don't have any games through the rest of April. So we got the front office got together and we voted on our power rankings for the end of April. So we're going to spend our first segment here kind of going through it. So we're going to start from 8. We're going to go 8 to 1. All right. That way we kind of lay them out there for you. Coming in at number 8, a team that dropped 5 spots from the preseason rankings, the Melonheads.
Yeah. I think the Melonheads look very disappointing so far. Even more than some other teams, in my opinion. But it's still way too early in the season to kind of judge that. So the lineup hasn't produced, only having 1 hit as a team, and it's Jordan. And Jordan's velocity has dropped significantly from years previous. But on the bright side, Jason looks great on the mound. Sam Eichenlaub looks like a solid option on the mound again. Ryan O'Rear only has 1 game under his belt. Tony Saggio and Spencer Bogad have yet to pitch or play. Jimmy Stout is also still no slouch either. He is a full swing away from, I believe, taking James Klein out of the park. And Bryson Livingston made his debut already, and he looks somewhat decent. So I'm really not worried about the Melonheads.
Showed up late, though.
He showed up late. But he still played a full game. And I'm not worried about them.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think I'm worried about them yet. Yet being the operative word there. I don't think Jordan's fully stretched out yet.
Yeah.
Obviously Ryan hasn't been there to kind of help solidify that offense. Sam hasn't swung the bat like Sam can. Jason hasn't connected with anything yet. I mean, you're blooping a blast away from turning it around.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, in all reality, with the firepower that they have on that lineup, they can make a run and, hell, we were talking about, we weren't, but I mean, this time last year, being part of the Purge, we were in that kind of same boat.
Yeah.
We had 1 win under our belt, but like 1-4, and then we went on a run. So, I mean, stuff can happen. So I don't think it's going to be the end of the world for them.
Yeah, I do think for some of these teams towards the bottom, I think these next couple weeks and the second month is really crucial. Because if, you're winning, 2-3 games in a month, or, it's like, especially in the second month when people are starting to get stretched out more and starting to get used to the feel of swinging again, then you kind of start to panic. But this first month, a lot of these guys, had not been working.
Yeah.
They've just now picked up a bat. So I would take all these rankings kind of a grain of salt.
Yeah. Oh yeah, until we get to like the end of May roughly.
Yeah.
When we're at that halfway point, that's where I kind of sit there and go, all right, let's look at the rankings. Let's look and see who's real, who we got, who's pretending, who's, and who's predominant.
You can't look at 3 series and be like, oh, this team's going to win the championship unless they're just like beating the brakes off of everybody.
Right. So that brings us to number 8. The Kings move up 1 spot.
Yes.
Kings will look good.
Yeah.
I mean, Wheeler's look good. I mean, I know his record's only is 1-2,
Mhm.
so he's wearing those 2 losses there. But I mean, at 2-3,
Yeah.
I mean, they've been in every game.
hmm
But
Yeah, the Kings at 7. Like I said, despite the record, they've had some typical Kings games where it's kind of that grit and grind. They're gonna make you earn the win. You may win 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, but it's gonna come in those late game situations where they make you earn it. With wins over the Mojo and the Bombers, Josh Wheeler looks like a slam dunk pick so far. You got to think like players like Caleb Schweigert. The record isn't always there, but he still is very dominant. And James Dobb is taking solid at bats. Drew Ballman with a home run in his second game ever in Mo
Right.
Wiff. I don't doubt the Kings. They have a chip on their shoulder this season, and they're starting to kind of prove people wrong already. They're not getting beat the way they are. Josh Wheeler, like I said, looks very, very good.
Oh yeah.
And it seems to starting to come together for this team.
Yeah, I'm totally excited to see where they can end up. I know it's kind of a little, my question was, even though Wheeler's practiced and done all this and that, previously, coming into the season, now seeing it on the field.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not like he's had easy games either.
Mm-hmm.
He went opening night, went against the Mambas and James Dutton.
Mm-hmm.
The next week, I forgot who they faced.
He faced us against Sam.
Yeah, he faced Sam. They pulled that win out there. And then this past week, he went toe to toe with Cam.
Yeah.
I mean, he was one Ethan Weiner normal stance, unfortunately, away from getting out of that game.
Yeah.
Ran a ball inside. It hit him in the head in the 6th inning. Brought in a run. That ended up being the decision. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes to see it that way. But them the rules, and you play ball the way you have it in front of you.
Yeah. I will say Josh Wheeler is very good at being effectively wild.
Yeah.
He hits his corners, he hits the top of the zone, the bottom of the zone, and then he can also hit the strike zone. He's not an overpowering strike pitcher where his whole game is I'm gonna pound the strike zone.
Right.
He's very good at being effectively wild, and that's what makes him so good.
For sure. I mean, Justin pitched a hell of a game the other night.
Yeah.
Mild unfortunate
Happens.
things happen with Keller, and I know he's beating himself up, but they go into extras, bases loaded, big Hitchcock swings, knuckles a ball out in the center, line drive that I don't even think would have gone over my head out of the ballpark.
Hey, you know what? He may have made that mistake in the field, but at the end of the day, they won the game.
Right. So that brings us number 6, up one spot, are the Mambas.
Yeah. Yeah. The Mambas are a tough one to rank. At least they were for me in the voting process. With the one wing versus the Kings, they had 2 solid games against the Bombers where it just wasn't going their way that night. With Cole falling and making the error, I guess it was called. And the walk, Caden pitching really well, just walked in that one run. But Chandler and Caden look great so far. I haven't seen much from Falcon yet, but I expect big things from him as well. Dutton looking good on the mound, and Cole, Parker, and Alex are still doing positive things at the plate.
Right. I think we talk about not a lot of hitting, not a lot of offense. There's not bad at bats being taken,
No.
and that's through the league wide. But when it comes to offense, period, that Mamba team they're going to be able to swing with the best of them.
Yeah. It's very hard to say that this team isn't hitting, because the league average right now is .79 for an entirety.
Is it really?
Yeah, I looked it up on Sunday. It's an entirety league average. There's teams with 1 hit. There's teams with only 2. There's teams with 3. And then there's teams like we'll get to who have – there's only 1 team with double-digit hits right now. And you'd kind of be surprised on who that team is.
Yeah, a little bit. Number 5 brings us to your mojo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, with Sam's not hitting at the plate right now. So, I mean, I know that's going to kind of click. You haven't had your whole team there for a whole time. You guys have had to pivot on the move and everything. And it's maybe cost you a little bit. But, yeah, sitting at number 5.
Yeah. The defending champs, we've looked sluggish so far. Sam, myself, and Brett have all gone hitless in 3 games so far. There's only been 4 players to play all 3 games, and the only one with a hit is Connor. On the bright side, Gus hasn't shown up yet. Jackson hasn't pitched yet. And despite the 2 losses, Sam has only given up 1 run in
Yeah.
each start.
Yeah.
It's hard to win games when you're not scoring any runs. And we faced elite national level pitching in all 3 games.
Yeah.
But if you face great pitching in the beginning of the year, later in the season it gets easier. So when you're facing those teams with those elite pitching come close to playoff time, well, we've been seeing it since March.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing it come the summertime and then we have to make the adjustment. So again, even though we're 1-2, for a lot of these teams, it's still too close. It's still too early to call.
Right. I agree with you. I
Yeah.
really don't have much analysis on your team.
Yeah.
More than what you said.
Mm-hmm.
But that brings us number 4. Brings you to my Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
We're the final team that's only played 3 games, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the way our schedule's kind of fallen. Obviously there's just been, we had the rain out week, and that's kind of negated some of the early stuff on for some of these guys, for some of these teams. I mean, so I mean, it's definitely something that it is what it is. So I mean, 1 and 2, we dropped that series to the Purge. We play again this week, so hopefully, we got a nice little bounce back. Kind of looking forward to that. But
yeah,
I'd be interested to see what you guys say.
I've said a kind of an underwhelming start so far, I'd say, but with all 3 games versus the Purge and also the only 3 games you've played, you really can't complain about the start so far. You're facing elite pitching early, like I just said,
Right.
Makes you better come later in the season. We still haven't seen Brody yet. We still haven't seen Andrew on the mound yet. We haven't seen a lot from Foss, except the 1 appearance. Andrew, he wasn't 100% last game. So again, it's the same with every team. It's gonna be, we're just gonna run around in circles. It's still too early to call, but yeah, that's about it. It's just like for everyone, the bats aren't coming around, and we haven't seen a lot of everybody yet.
Right. I think Foss is doing just fine. He's only had 1 start.
Yeah.
Obviously we, the way we figured everything out, he just hasn't had his opportunity. He's definitely going to get his opportunity this week. So it should be tons of fun. And I think we may or may not see Andrew this week.
We shall see. Tune in Thursday.
We shall see. Tune in Thursday live on Twitch.
There you go.
That's not a promise. That's a spoiler. So kind of, have a little fun with it. So coming up to number 3, that brings us to the Bombers. They're up 3 spots from where they started in the season. 4-1. Cam's pitching lights out. Reeling from he's got back-to-back no-hitters.
Yeah.
And so really delivering for his team, and they've looked good all around.
Yeah, the Bombers have turned their heads with their 4-1 record with wins against the Melonheads, Mambas, and the Kings. Cam has looked great on the mound so far. Johnny has a no-hitter under his belt.
Yeah, I forgot about Johnny.
Tommy Dwyer, despite the loss, still looked decent. Just the hitting for everyone else is still a meh but it's meh for a 4-1 team.
Right.
When your team is 4-1, you expect them to be hitting the lights out in terms of how the league hits the lights out. But they're winning games in other ways. Week 1, they won off of it. They changed the momentum of the Melonheads game off the Michael Dobb headshot. Then they won off an error and a walk, and then they won again off a walk. Again, a win is a win regardless. It goes into the record book as a win. But
you want to see them start putting the bat on the ball.
Right. If you're 4-1 and you're a top 3 team, you expect them to be a certain kind of way.
Okay.
And also, I do want to say, here's the hot take portion that everyone loves me for. They haven't played the best of the best pitching. Cam obviously is the defending Cy Wiffle Award winner. The best pitcher they've faced was Josh Wheeler, and they won off a headshot. Again, I'm not saying that's not necessarily a bad thing. What are you going to do?
Right.
I mean, a win is a win. My team's 1-2. I can't really
Right.
say too much about it, but the
I know.
Melonheads haven't been hitting and they haven't been pitching. The Mambas, no offense, but the Mambas just don't have that dominant pitching. If the Bombers keep
Not
this
yet.
up down the stretch, like into June and July, I'm like, okay, this team is legit. Let's watch out. The Bombers might be back.
Yeah. I think it's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Next is the Archers. That they move up 2 spots into the number 2 hole.
Mm-hmm.
They ran into the buzzsaw that the Purge are right now.
Yeah.
The other night, that was a great game. Oh my God, so much fun to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to be there and say that I saw it.
Oh yeah.
That was a great overall series. So if you haven't seen any highlights or you haven't seen anything, make sure you go watch Fast Pitch with Jason yesterday. Go back, watch the games. It's uploaded Saturday night and Sunday. Great games, great overall, just fun just to listen to. Just them going back and forth. That's my favorite series of the year.
Yeah, like I said, it's a cult classic game. It's a cult classic series. When you play the college football, NCAA 14, and you have like a big moment. It's ESPN Instant Classic. That's a series you always have to circle if you're a MO WIFF fan or a MO WIFF consumer. Those will always be top notch trash talking and level of play. But as for the Archers, they've looked legit so far. James Klein has been as advertised. He's 2-0 with a 0.00 ERA and 30 strikeouts on the mound. Drew Maurer looks promising with a solid outing despite the loss. And Coulter looks like a good pick so far. Hasn't really shown anything with his one appearance, but with the hustle he plays with, he has a bright future in this league. The hitting is still top notch with Rory, Tony, and J. Rich, and they have wins against the Mojo and the Melonheads. They beat us week 1 off a clutch 5th inning home run. They they no-hit the Melonheads, and they just like you said, they ran into the buzzsaw.
Right. Yeah, it's the way that you got Tony throwing, and then you're able to go to Klein, or now Drew Maurer's there. I mean, that was impressive back-to-back split of that game.
Yeah.
Between Klein, going 3 innings, and then Drew going the final 2. But Coulter broke up the perfect game for Pat.
Yeah.
Like great at bat. One of his first at bats he goes against one of the best in the country, and just completely just stonewalled it and just took a great at bat there and get that walk. So I mean, like you said, Coulter had a great showing for his first night. I know he only didn't get in until game 2.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where you get in where you fit in. And I mean, he definitely proved that he definitely belongs to be here.
Yeah.
Not only at the plate with that walk, but defensively, he had a couple balls where he made some good plays on.
Yeah. The only question is how long can they keep this pace up? They're 3-2 right now. Great record. They're winning their division, but how long can they keep that pace up? How many times will James Klein be pumping the way he's hitting? He hits the board for a lot of strikes, and as you know, if all you throw is strikes on the K, it's going to cost you.
Right.
Well, how long will Tony's arm be healthy? Because he's dealt with injuries in the past. He starts off the year healthy, but then he throws a lot. And James with baseball, there's just these top 3 teams I'm going to be more critical of, because it's only fair because of the top 3 teams. And,
you want to be the best, you got to be talked down to. No, I'm playing.
I'm sure. I get it a lot. So it's only fair, right?
So that brings us to number 1. Obviously, the Purge at 4-1. Pat Ballman looks like the next coming of Cy Young. I did it right that time. Yeah. But the way he's pitching, he's lights out. When you got Caleb and Colin that can come in after or come in and pitch game 2.
Yeah.
Cool. It's one of those things that's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they've looked amazing in this first month of the season. Pat Ballman looks out of this world right now. Colin has had some great outings on the mound and at the plate as well. He's been arguably the best hitter so far. The rookies in Zach Gunn and John Satrowski have also looked pretty decent so far, and they're stepping up when they are needed as a team. Tom is hitting. Normally Tom does not swing. Well, now Tom is starting to see the ball, and he's putting it in play. with this home
and
run.
hard. We're not just talking gimme cheap hits.
Not soft contact.
They've all been earned.
There was that one, I think, against Tony where he just absolutely slapped it. It was absolute rocket up the middle. But like I said about, they're coming up in the clutch moments.
Right.
With Collins' 2 home runs, the one to tie the game, and then the walk-off.
Yeah.
Like, that's the clutch moments, like I said about the Archers, that they were doing, I think a week or two ago, that the Purge are now doing. Those clutch moments right there win you championships. It's the players, it's your stars are starting to step up.
I like it. So there's 8 through 1.
Mm-hmm.
So who would you say is your biggest surprise of where they're at?
Honestly, the biggest surprise,
just gut reaction.
I probably have to say, I'm going to have to go with the Melonheads. Obviously, 0-3 isn't an ideal start. I really thought they would probably be either in the 2-1 or the 1-2 range.
Right.
But it's more of so the one hit. This team coming into it, when you and Jason sat around at that round table, we thought the lineup was going to be the more prominent.
Right.
And as a team, they have one hit. They got no hit twice. Obviously, James Klein is pitching amazing right now, but they got no hit against Tony, and Tony is someone that the Melonheads have historically been able to hit against.
Right.
It's like I said, it's still early to tell. A lot of these guys still need to get loose, get back into the wiffle ball shape, I guess you could say. And even myself. I've seen myself struggling at the fast pitch, and I'm normally pretty good. I'm swinging at junk.
Right.
So
okay.
I think the Melonheads, but another honorable mention I'd say is the Bombers. I think that's an honorable mention.
Yeah, they definitely play that. They were going to be mine.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I totally took yours.
No, it's all good. No, I mean the way the Bombers they're finding ways to win games.
Yeah.
And I mean, it might not be by hitting the long ball or hitting the ball hard or anything like that, but they're finding a way to win. And I mean, that's what matters when it comes down to it. How do you get the dub?
Mm-hmm.
And they found the way to do it. So with them, I mean, I'm happy to see it, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, they're ahead of me. So it's kind of like,
yeah,
put a target on the back and go get it.
I am curious to see how they perform in these next couple weeks. Because going into the next couple of weeks that they play, it's gonna be a gauntlet. I'm also excited to see Ben Dolan. So I've never seen him pitch like actual live. I've only seen highlights. So I'm kind of excited to see what they do.
Right.
But they've yet to play the Purge. They've yet to play you guys. They've yet to play the Archers. They've yet to play us. Like,
I mean, that's just the way the schedule falls.
And
I mean,
that's
we
the
all
way
play each other.
It goes. And that's kind of the flip side of having a power ranking after 1 month, but it's necessary to have one just to discuss how teams are playing. And
gives us content.
Yes, it does give us content.
But no, man, I think it's fun. I think every month at the end of the month, the show, as long as there's no games playing, afterwards or not.
Yeah.
I think me and Q are going to make sure we go over the power rankings and everything, so that way we kind of can put it out there. Everybody can see it and kind of know how we feel about it and have their own opinion. So think about it. If you got your own kind of writing, put it in the comments below.
Please leave it in the comments. I really want to see what people have to say.
Yeah.
It's
I would love
curiosity.
to see that. I would totally love to see that. But no, man. So with that, we're going to be right back. I was able to connect a little bit earlier today with our hitter and pitchers of the week. So stay tuned. Got some fun little interviews for you. And I'll be right back with the second segment.
I don't disagree, but if I get called. Thank you, sir.
Pumps that out there for strike 3.
Jumpy. Oh, whoa.
Oh.
In the middle. He can jump. He can turn. He does all the crazy things. Like, that is disgusting. Teal.
Oh. Ooh, got him.
Oh, good pitch.
Strike 3.
Oof.
Strike 3, that's out 1. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Strike 3 with the grunt. Oof. The tenacity is kind of dropped with the chirping. Oh,
Make me play.
flying with
Squeeze
there. Can Zatrowski get it? There we go. And the Purge take game 2, and that's a sweep for the Purge. Welcome back to the second segment of the 3 Up 3 Down podcast. Obviously, familiar face. Got to see him last week. But let me introduce Mr. Pat Ballman for his second Pitcher of the Week award. So, cheers to you, sir. Do you know how many innings you've thrown?
What, 9 or 10 probably?
10 innings. How many strikeouts you think you got?
20-some, 25.
26.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
26 strikeouts out of 31 batters faced. So, yeah. So, pretty good. You're doing pretty good, bud. But no, I mean, you're one walk away from back-to-back perfect games. Obviously, you throw back-to-back no-hitters at least. I mean, how you doing it, bro? I mean, tell the kids out there, how can they be like PB?
No, I mean, it's definitely, I would not have guessed that I would be having this much success early on in the year, but it's been a lot of fun. This time around is a lot different. And I think I said on the last show, like, even though I did pitch a perfect game in the first one, I didn't feel like I did the best because I felt like I was throwing too many down the middle. And that's why I tried to change it this game. So I think my pitch count was almost double because I was trying to mix it up more and make them chase more than I did against when we played you guys, where I was just trying to hit the zone every time. So I actually was probably more proud of this start just because also I knew that how good of a hitting team the Archers were. I mean, up and down that lineup, any one of them can go yard at any point. So I was just trying to be around the zone, but not hitting it every time. And the fellas backed me up in the field and with the bats too. So I was super happy with how the Purge are playing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was looking at the stat line and everything. Colin having that big game. I mean, was that your game or was that Caleb's game? That was Caleb's game.
Mm-hmm.
So, but having big night at the plate and just kind of everything that way. I mean, just everything's kind of clicking for you guys right now, when it comes to it. So obviously you played, you didn't play as much as you wanted to last year. This year going to be the same, obviously traveling and stuff that way. How are you feeling about this Archers team, man? I mean, starting the season 4-1.
You mean the Purge?
Yep.
Yeah,
I looked up.
Good.
I'm looking at your stat line and literally read Archers right before I said it. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, no, no, the Purge. I'm loving it right now. I just love the team chemistry. Like we got Zach and John this year, and they're both just really good friends of mine. And then Colin and Kale are playing great. Tom's having great at bats. Greg's been putting the ball in play. Like everything that we were kind of having question marks on before the year started is kind of all working out right now. The bats are hot, and the pitching is where we thought it would be at. So I think we just got to stay consistent, and I think it's very easy to do when you got a lot of guys who can throw on the mound. And I don't know if I'm showing the cards too early, but I think we got some other guys pitching this week that I think could also have some success. So
Blake's coming in.
I don't know about that, but maybe someone else.
maybe someone else.
We'll see. But hopefully Tom doesn't text me and be like, "What are you doing, giving away the game plan?" But yeah, no, I'm excited to see what some of the other guys got too, because I think they can have a lot of success, and the more pitchers, the better. So I think we got a good shot to keep it up.
For sure. So I'm going to bring up something that happened, you at the plate, just because I want you to prep for probably Sam's going to attack the hell out of it tomorrow during 56 and under. Not attack it, but I think you're going to make a headshot moment. Sorry. I think it's going to happen. Yeah. How is Zach doing after that bat slipped out of your hands and carried off the fence on him, man?
Yeah, and that I'm just telling you, like, that has not left my mind like the last 4 days.
Obviously you didn't do it on purpose.
No, yeah. And I know that, and like I've apologized to him, his family, like everyone so many times. I just feel absolutely awful because if you ask any of my friends, I think that the first time I probably like lost my cool playing, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just like the trash talk or what, but something just clicked. I got so mad. I tried to throw the bat against the back of the fence, and I guess I just got so angry. I just threw it to the side, and then it clipped him in the end of the bat clipped him, And no, he was fine. He said that like, he only felt bad that I felt bad. Like he said he's fine and there's no problem. But he's.
I mean, he stepped right into right up to the plate right afterwards, like it wasn't nothing.
Yeah, no, he's an insanely tough dude. Like I've known him my whole life. Like, but yeah, no, I like that was probably like the most heated I've ever been in a sport, and I was pretty embarrassed about it. And that'll never happen again. But yeah, I mean, I expected, like, I'm not gonna act like I didn't expect that coming up from the headshot.
Oh man, I mean, the only reason I know that it's probably bringing up is because I got a text verifying who it was earlier today, so I was like, oh gosh, it's gonna be on there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I mean, I made sure to send my clip from earlier in the season too. You know, of me.
At least you didn't hit one, though.
Not this year, but I have in the past. All right, there's ask Will and Brink next time you see him about us playing on Wednesday nights in a different place. What happened to him? Worst situation, because I just didn't see him.
Yeah,
that was it. I thought I was throwing it behind everybody. Nope, right at him.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of similar to me. Like I thought I was throwing it the back and it just slipped out of my hands, and still no excuse. Like you don't. It's wiffle ball at the end of the day, and I know that. Like I'm never going to justify it, but yeah, it'll never happen again. So. we played the next or 2 days later in our Wiffle Ball League, and we're already joking about it and stuff, and pretend to throw the bat after I strike out and stuff. But yeah, like no excuse. It's stupid, but it was an accident.
No, I was just saying it I wasn't trying. I apologize for ambushing you with that question.
No, it's
I was just something lighthearted and everything.
Yeah.
So you got to see some different pitching, the other day. Obviously, we saw. You got to see the two-headed monster of rookie pitchers that the Archers have, with Klein and with Maurer. And you've seen Maurer before in other leagues, I assume, right? Mm-hmm. So how does that transition going from somebody like Tony, who Tony throws hard, don't get me wrong, in that game one, but then you got those flamethrower kids coming out right afterwards that are pumping it in there higher than Tony.
Yeah. Drew has some nasty stuff. I've never seen him throw like a couple before. I saw him throwing scuff at a tournament I played at recently, and he has disgusting stuff. Like he's going to be really good, and he's only getting better and better. And then James just throws so hard. But I don't know what it was, but Tony, I felt like that was probably the worst I've hit all year against Tony. So I don't know what it was with him, but. No, they have such great pitching, and I knew that going in, and I was happy to come out there with a couple hits, but it was definitely tough, and I think that's going to be a really good team going down the stretch with more and more reps. Just really, not only do they throw hard, but they have really good movement too. So I'm excited to see how they do going forward. I'm rooting for Drew and James, some fellow young pitchers, and going forward, that's going to be a really scary team, I think.
Oh yeah, I think them and you is you get in, and dude, I think the Purge. I think you guys got something going, man. If the hitting can continue, if the timely hitting, not just the hitting, but the timely hitting can continue, I think it's going to be. I think you guys are going to be definitely something to deal with. Mm-hmm. And then when you come back for the summer, they just got to, it's just going to be adding free agency, adding somebody off the injured reserve or the IR or the DL. So it's just going to be one of those things. Going to be crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm excited.
No, with all that being said, man, I appreciate you stopping by and everything. And I know we talked last week, and I appreciate just a couple minutes of your time again today. But with that, Mr. Pat Ballman, your Buffalo Wild Wings pitcher of the week.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with our hitter of the week. It's going to be a fun one, so stick around. With a drive!
I thought the game was over. Let me handle it. Yeah.
Oh, you're so goodbye! Again! And the time expired! Joining us now is our Lit Cigar Lounge hit of the week. He's coming off arguably his best offensive performance of his MO WIFF career, going 2 for 3 with 2 solo homers off of Tony Cochran and the Archers. Please welcome back to the 3 Up 3 Down podcast, Mr. Colin Wilkerson.
How we doing, man? Thanks for having me
up,
on. Thanks for having
how
me
you
on.
been?
Doing good, doing good.
How's the summer treating you?
It's doing
Or
good,
spring.
man.
How's the spring treating you?
It's good. The weather it's a little muggy today, but I graduate next Saturday, so I can't.
Oh, snap. Congrats. Hey.
Thank you.
We'll clap for that.
Happy to be done, man.
Dude, I bet. What's your degree in?
Criminal justice.
Oh, got you.
Yep.
Now you were saying a little bit earlier ago off camera talking about your internship. Where are you going to be interning this summer?
Well, I already had the internship so it was at my grandpa's drywall corporation. So I'm also taking a job there. So I'll be working there right after I graduate. So not really what I went to school for, but also kind of something that'll work out. You know what I mean? So very excited.
Got you. Well, congrats on that, man.
Thank you, man.
So let's get to the bread and butter while you're here, bud. So walk me through those at-bats. The first at-bat that you had of the night of that game 1, because we're not going to talk about game 2. We're only talking about game 1. All right.
Okay.
That's the first at-bat. You strike out swinging. You strike out swinging on that on it, or at least it looked like you were on it. Then that second at-bat, you go Oppo Taco for the homer.
Yeah.
And then that walk-off homer to end it. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty badass.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah, dude, I think playing the Archers is like the most fun, especially after last year. I think there's like this smack talk that first of all I think brings the best out of me. Like I was telling Rory, I think Tony brings the best out of me, and he smacked. When I hit the home run, he was still, his smack talk didn't slow down at all, which is crazy. But I think that helps me for sure. But I think the first at bat, I think I was looking for the slider because that's the only pitch that I've hit in the past, and I've never hit a screwball. I don't think I've put a screwball in play once. But the first at bat, I think I was just sitting on it. I think he knows that too, so he was trying to sit me down with the screwball. But the second at bat, I think I just caught one, and I just timed it right, and I think I hit it oppo, hit it good, hit it on the handle a little bit. But the third at bat, the walk-off, man, we were talking to each other mid at bat, and right before he threw the screwball, because he wasn't going to throw that slow nasty pitch, off-speed pitch he throws, and he was sitting there on the mound, and I was like, think about it. And he told me after, he was like, I was thinking, because he's like, I knew you were going to hit the slider, and dude, he threw the screw, and I ended up just connecting with it, and it was just perfect. It was crazy.
If you haven't gone back and watched it, which I'm assuming you have, but if for our viewers out there, if you guys haven't gone back to watch it, watch how he barrels that ball up, and it knuckled out, dude. It knuckled out.
What's crazy?
It was nuts.
It was crazy, dude. You don't see the ball do that much. But last year when I hit a home run off Tony in the playoffs, it knuckled to left and started at center and then broke off to left. It just knuckled so hard. And then that last ball, it started knuckling, and I was like praying. I was like, just get over the fence, like in my head. I was like, just get over the fence because it could knuckle down at any time, and it ended up working out.
Yeah, so what is that? 3 of your last 4 at bats against Tony you've taken deep?
Yeah.
Or I think that's what it is. Well, your last 3 hits off Tony have all been home runs. So, I mean, that's not a bad stat to have going back to last year's playoffs.
Yeah, and dude, talk about how tough they are. Like, I knew we were going to get Klein's second game, but I was like, man, Tony, dude, like Tony's so tough to beat, and especially the smack talk, but it's all love, you know. But I just knew going into it, I'm like, if we can somehow beat Tony, you know. And then with Caleb's arm started to hurt, so I they just had to have a little clutch, and it ended up working out. Our team's looking a lot better too.
Oh yeah, I mean, you coming on and talk about your pitching. I mean, you came in and very little warm ups. You know, kind of came in there and shut that door down and kept that lead going. But you helped yourself out. You helped yourself out with that homer. The walk-off homer got you the dub.
Well, dude, I got a little nervous too because right after Tony, I think I walked the run in, but right after that, Tony's like, "It's over with. That's all we needed." I'm like, "Oh man, we got to score. We got to score somehow." I said, "We can't let it go down like that."
Oh man, I do love the smack talking. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
that's the one thing.
You remember how crazy those games were last year?
Dude, I mean, even going back to Lit City, bro, we were all chirping on each other. back at UWIFs last year. So I mean, you can be on the same damn team with him. He don't care.
Exactly, dude.
That's fantastic. It was, what did I call it? The Buffalo series. And one of you guys forgot, and I go, there's a Buffalo.
Yep, damn straight.
But, no, man. So last week, your pops, Tom had hitter of the week. What'd you do? Have to go show him up, hit 2 home runs instead of just 1?
Yeah, for sure. I think I let him enjoy that. He's been hitting better too, but especially with how like him, he's splitting games too, and he's still hitting good. I think he's playing it right. And I know him and Greg will be swapping sometimes, but I know, yeah, man, I think he's been hitting a lot better. But yeah, I had to show him up for sure. Had to let him get that little sunlight for a little bit, and then I had to go out there for sure. I think that's only right.
So what? I think it'll be your picture on the website this week, and say your dad's. We're just going to replace it. So yeah, go find me a good picture you want to use and send it to me, or send it to Wheeler directly. Wheeler's the one that uploads the website.
I got you, bro.
So up next, it's the Mambas this week. You guys are playing your 3rd week in a row. So you guys got the Mambas. You ready to see that revamp lineup?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I know they got a bunch of young guys that they just picked up, and I know that Rice is pitching good. I know we're probably going to get Dutton, I'm assuming, but I'm wondering who we're going to get that second game. But I know, didn't they split with the Bombers? They split with the Bombers?
I don't have that in front of me.
Bombers might have swept.
No, Bombers. That was the Kings. That was the Kings. That was the Kings they split with.
Yeah, I know they got some sticks, so it's going to be tough to pitch against them. I know Caleb's arm's still hurting a little bit, so we're going to give him a break. And we got a deep bullpen, so I know it's going to be tough, And they swept us last year, regular season. So Mambas, we got to make sure we get them back a little bit for sure.
Gotcha. I love the memory of it. I love how you know it.
Yeah. And Cole talked about it on the podcast. I'm like, I forgot about that. I know they did sweep us, and I was like, yeah, we got to get them back for sure.
Gotcha. Well, hey man, I appreciate you taking a couple minutes with us here today and everything that way. And I know you're busy, got a busy schedule going on, but glad you could give us a couple minutes. But no, with that being said, you'll be back to join me in the 3rd segment. We'll take it home. Stay tuned. We want to thank Pat Ballman and Colin Wilkerson for stopping by and hanging out with me a little bit ago. Had a lot of fun talking with them today. Just catching up with them. I know we talked to Pat last week, but getting to catch up with Colin where it's just Colin and not, everybody like we did the preseason thing. Yeah. And I mean, that was, Colin had some fun with what he had to say about his dad being hitter of the week and stuff. And just talking about them, that Archer series and what, earned him that hitter of the week. But with that being said, let's get into the 3rd segment here. Yeah. So Thursday, the early games, it's going to be Thunderbirds, Archers. Obviously, Thunderbirds, drop their series, with the Purge in week 3. So it's definitely got a taste in our mouth of wanting to go out there and kind of get that dub. And I mean, it's going to be no slouch. I mean, obviously, if we see Klein or Tony or Maurer or all 3 of them or Rory or hell, even if J. Rich comes in, you don't know what you're going to see. Maybe we see Coulter on the mound. If he comes back, if he's able to make it up from Springfield and be part of it. So I definitely think it's going to be a fun, interesting series that I cannot quite put my finger at yet on how I'm going to manage towards it.
Yeah. I said what team's bats will show up first. The pitching will be there. And whoever draws first blood in the 2 games will more than likely win that respective game. But the Archers need to come out and prove they can take a series from a top echelon pitcher this season. Yeah. Obviously, they beat Foss and Dom last season. They pieced up Andrew in that playoff game that he put himself into. But they haven't faced that top echelon pitcher yet. And the Thunderbirds need to win the series. Yeah. It's simple as that, or else they will not be sitting pretty in those standings. But
I concur.
Mm-hmm. I think the series ends up in a split, though.
I think it's what do we beat Klein or not in this scenario of yours?
That's tough. I don't think you beat James if he pitches. I do think you guys win game 2.
Got you. Okay, I like it. That takes us to the second series. we're looking at the Purge and Mambas.
Mhm.
This will be the third week in a row for the Purge that they're playing.
Yeah.
And they got to play again next week, so 4 straight weeks
Yeah.
that they're playing. They're going to be without their ace, the ace so far this season, and Pat Ballman. Colin hasn't hardly thrown any at all, so I think you're definitely going to see Colin. Does Caleb come back? I know we had that shoulder discomfort. But obviously we wish you nothing but a speedy recovery, and hopefully that it was just a meh and you're able to throw this week, because I definitely want to see that. But yeah, well, how do you got that series going?
Man, I think we'll probably see Caleb. I don't think Caleb probably doesn't want to go out like that, but obviously if he's not ready to throw, I hope he says, listen, I'm not feeling right, like he did last week, and that shows maturity. Typically in years previous, Caleb probably just would have went out there and just been like, shut up, shoulder, I'm throwing anyway. But it shows maturity in that team, and that he knows that he's got people behind him that can come in and throw and win the game.
Right.
But as of this series, we'll start with the Mambas. I said it's do or die for the Mambas. Going up against the best team right now, it has to be more than just Cole versus Purge rotation. You really can't get swept, or it'll be a very, very tough uphill battle to make a playoff spot. On the other side, this series for the Purge is to prove everyone that it's your time, that this is the year of the Purge, and this is the series that the Bats need to come alive in a big way. This series, if the Purge can come out and put up 3, 4, 5 runs in a game, and then on top of how dominant their lineup is, it's gonna be a tough year for everybody else.
Yeah. This week, Mamba's going to break with. I mean, they don't have to see Pat. Pat's not going to be here. He's obviously back down in Florida, but school's almost out, and when school's out, Pat will be back. So it's one of those things. If the strike while the opportunity, these next 2 opponents that the Purge have, they need to capitalize on it. So I totally think it's going to be that. I'm going to go sweep either way, just for shits and grins. I want to see it happen. I would love to, in a division, as much as I think it'll either end in a split or a sweep for the Purge. I would love to see the Mamas come up and snake bite them.
They did last
year.
2
wins. That's what I'm saying.
They did last year.
And
they put up runs against them.
So it's definitely something that I can see happening. If Dutton's back comes alive, say the CI Prospect boys started swinging lights out. I mean, it's just one click away from it all being the floodgates opening for them offensively.
I mean, that's you could say that for every team, but especially the Mambas with the way that their bats are. But I think this is a different Purge team than last year. Last year, they kind of caught them in the beginning of that year slump. Obviously, you were on that team, so you were there for that series. Mm-hmm. I think this is a different Purge team. I think they've clicked as a collective unit. They have the chemistry built. They have the culture. And they've all matured as wiffle ball players. You have mature wiffle ball players in the NWA guys that are there, and matured wiffle ball players with Caleb, Colin, and the company. I think the Purge sweep here. I think it's going to be a better series than a lot of people anticipate. I just think that the Purge are playing very good wiffle ball right now.
Got you. All right. Well, there you have it. Our preview for week. What is this? Week 5.
Yeah.
Coming up. So before we go, want to make sure you guys hit up the merch store.
Yes.
Obviously, you see the new cup that Q's using right now.
My tumbler.
His tumbler.
Love this thing.
The hat.
Hat is the
new flex. Well, no, that's not the flex, but
this is the Richardson, trucker hat.
Got you. I just ordered a flex fit one.
Yeah.
So I might have me my own MO WIFF hat that I'll wear a little bit more.
It's exciting.
Obviously, I like to rock, the teams that we got, but at the same time, it'd be nice to have something a little bit more flat. So I can't wait for that to come in.
Yeah.
And again, we can't stress it enough. Our weekly programming schedule, it is booming. Mm-hmm. We're up and moving where we got content 7 days a week. I would say 24/7, 365. But it ain't like that.
No.
But no, I mean, obviously we got Mondays with Fast Pitch, Tuesdays our podcast, Wednesdays 56 and under, Thursdays game day.
Right.
So, I mean, those are the big points to where you got something to watch that literally was made either that day or during the day.
Yeah, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's games as well. There's one game on Friday night, one Friday after or Saturday afternoon, and then one Saturday night, and then one on Sunday night.
Yeah.
And it leads right back into Monday with fast pitch.
So 7 days a week, we got content coming your way. We talked about the merch store. Website is being worked on. It's almost there, so I cannot wait to get the green light to start talking about that again. A lot of work has gone into that, and we thank those involved, and we'll make sure they get a proper thank you when
Yes.
it's all said and done. With that being said, you got anything else, Q?
Enjoy 56 under tomorrow, and enjoy the games on Thursday. They're going to be great.
Yep. Hope you guys are enjoying me and Q in the booth. We're going to be in the booth a little bit here until Jason shows back up after having the baby.
I promise to be better. I was a little exhausted last week. I wasn't my best announcer self.
Yeah, I think ultimately we just need to, and we ask to the players of MO WIFF, if we are in the booth calling the game, please respect the booth area. What I mean by that is we don't want to keep conversations going over the top of people speaking, why we're calling the games and stuff. So let's keep side conversations at a minimum. If we please can, that would be absolutely lovely. But with that being said, we appreciate you guys for sticking around. Hope you guys had a good time. And with that,
Peace out from Bar O'Brien.
we'll see you guys next week.